Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel Vigil, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel Vigil.
Can UConn become the first back-to-back national championship champion since Florida in 2006 and 2007? Can they win the big dance? I'm really excited. Today's show is going to look a little bit different. I have my notes. I have the bracket. We're going to get into it, and I'm going to hopefully put together a perfect bracket that's probably not a perfect bracket because nobody can do a perfect bracket. But if you are not doing so, make sure you head over to denversports.com. You can win $5,000 by filling out your bracket. That is exactly what we are going to be doing today. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I see you guys being like, all right, I need some help on some of these picks. Give it to me. Please tell Rachel I want to avoid shredding my bracket by Saturday yearly event. I'm totally with you. Trust me, I'm there. So let's go through it. And we're also, if you're going to be watching on YouTube, we're going to be running a few polls on some of the games that I'm a little questionable on. So I would love your opinion on who you are taking. So follow along, everybody, and let's do this. Starting off strong. We just got to go with UConn. I'm sorry. Okay. We just have to do it again with the opportunity to possibly be back-to-back reigning champs. I think that this is going to be major. And I do think that they have the capabilities of doing this. So there have been 4 reigning champs who have entered the big dance as a 1 or 2 seed in the past decade, and none of them have advanced to the tournament's second weekend. Will UConn be able to do that? Definitely a good question. Okay. Moving on, Florida Atlantic and Northwestern. So looking at Florida Atlantic Final Four and Northwestern, 3-point shooting percentage. They are definitely pretty good at it, but they lost Tyler Berry, and that definitely can hurt this team. So as I look ahead to it, I am going with the number 8 seed, Florida Atlantic. Moving down the bracket, San Diego State. Okay. I love San Diego State. They always provide me some sort of entertainment. And how can we forget last year and the incredible run that they went on, obviously being the runner-up, and then UAB. They destroyed Temple in the championship. Ooh, which one to go with? And to be honest, part of me is really leaning towards UAB. It really, really is. But I think that I'm really, really torn, but actually I think I'm going to do it. I'm going with the 12 seed, upsetting the number 5 seed right there. UVA moving on. This one kind of stresses me out just a little bit because I came from the Mountain West, so I've always got ties into, San Diego State, Nevada, any of those type of teams, but I do think I'm going to roll with UAB. Moving on to Auburn and Yale. Solid defense for Auburn. They are 4 of 6 returning from last year, and I do think that experience will play into that for sure. So it's one of those things to pay attention to as you're looking at this. The moment can get really big for a lot of teams. Having that experience to go back there and say, hey, we are in the big dance, but trust me, we are just playing a game of basketball can really, really help a team. So I really personally like this for Auburn. I think that they've got solid defense. I'm rolling with them to beat Yale for sure. Keeping on, moving down. BYU and Duquesne. BYU, they're averaging 82.2 points per game. That's not bad, but they live and die by the 3-point line. So that's something to pay attention to. If you cannot get hot on the 3-point line, things will not look good for BYU. Duquesne, however, guess what? They're averaging honestly pretty much the exact same points, 83.9 points per game. They also have a really solid defense. So depending on how you're feeling, right? Are you going to be looking at BYU to say, hey, this could possibly be an upset? Both of them obviously are able to put the ball in the basket, but BYU is also really good at getting the rebounds, and I do like BYU. I think I have BYU probably going a little bit further than a lot of people are realizing. Going down, Illinois and Morehead State. Oh, let's just be honest. It's Illinois. No offense to Morehead State. I'm sorry, but Illinois is going to be the team that obviously just moves on. They're number 3 seed for a reason. Could there possibly be an upset? Of course there could possibly be an upset, but I do like Illinois. I'm taking them to move on. Looking at Washington State versus Drake. Here's one of these games where I'm kind of like, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it. It's not one I'm going to run a poll on yet. So you guys let me know in the comments, though, if you're like, Rachel, you need to go with one of these teams or another. Washington State, the defense has been a struggle. And if they fall behind, it's really hard for them to overcome anything. And that can be definitely one of these things where you can see the refs get involved in the NCAA tournament a ton. So they have to be able to play a solid game and stay in front. Because if not, and you have stoppage time and you're at the free throw line and you're behind, it could be a real big struggle for Washington State. Now, Drake. They led by 18 points in their conference championship game and ended up losing. They're definitely not riding high on confidence by any means, but I do actually have Drake advancing because I think that was enough of a slap in the face to say, hey, we're a better team than this. We need to go out there and prove that we are a better team. So I'm taking Drake on Thursday afternoon. I, of course, want to read some of your guys' comments to let me know. Drake for me. Thank you. Yes, Drake. I'm feeling really confident about Drake. So I'm liking that one a lot. Again, I think it was a nice slap in the face. You're up by 18. You end up losing. Of course, you need to go out there and be able to put up some points. So I personally am just liking Drake. And then I'm taking Iowa State. I'm sorry. I feel like you just got to roll with the number 2 seed. South Dakota State, I think, could put up a decent game. I don't think it'll be just a super easy one that you're going to be turning off halfway through the second, but I do like Iowa State. Moving on down, let me switch over my papers real quick, everybody, to North Carolina. Oh, North Carolina. It's one of those things where you kind of got to buy into it. I'm sorry, they're number 1 seed for a reason. I do like North Carolina. I think that they play really, really physical basketball, and I think that can be really hard for any team to come in and beat. And we've seen that time and time again with all of their records and where they've stayed at. So I'm going with UNC in there. Now, Mississippi State versus Michigan State. All I can think about is Richie talking about Michigan State and how he so badly would love for them to advance. Now, Mississippi State, they have zero consistency when it comes to any of their scoring, which will hurt them in the tournament. You cannot be going up and down, up and down. It's not going to work out for you. You have to have a solid game plan coming into it. But Michigan State, they have 3 solid guards. And let's be honest, the NCAA tournament is all about guard play. So I am rolling with Richie's team, Michigan State. I hope he's happy with that pick. I do think it'll be really, really good for him. Like I said, though, consistency, it has to be key. You kind of have to get hot at the right time when it comes to the NCAA tournament. So I like Michigan State over Mississippi State. Now, if you did not know, I used to work for the Western Athletic Conference. So Grand Canyon, I used to cheer on every single year in Las Vegas. Obviously, there were tons of different teams out there, but it felt like GCU was always in the conversation. Last year, they actually played here in Denver when Denver hosted March Madness. So part of me really, really, really wants to go with Grand Canyon over St. Mary's. Problem is St. Mary's plays a very different type of basketball than GCU does. It's very slow paced. It is one of those games where they're going to find the perfect shot. They're not going to just try and get it off or whatever. And GCU plays a very fast pace of basketball. So I do think that we're going to see a little bit of colliding and collision in this game for sure. But Colin Moore, very solid defender for the Lopes. I think it's going to be a good one. And I am rolling with GCU to do the upset against St. Mary's. I hope I'm right on this one just because I know so many people out there that will be cheering for GCU. So that's like my own little personal tidbit in there. I like GCU though, and I think that their defending can definitely play. And again, if you're St. Mary's and you can't keep up with the style of play because you're so used to slowing the game down, and all of a sudden GCU is able to kind of like make everything go a little bit faster, that can really stress out a St. Mary's team. Alabama versus Charleston. Okay, let's see what I got on this one. This is one of those games where I kind of feel like I don't have anything in it. Like I don't think that they're going to be going super far regardless. But Alabama leads the nation in scoring, so that's always a good thing. They're able to put the ball in the basket for sure, but they're terrible at defense. They are absolutely terrible at defense. They rank towards the bottom of the NCAA. Not a good sign for Alabama right there. And Charleston, actually, now that I remember this, I like Charleston in this. One, because if Alabama's bad at defense, Charleston has a 10-man rotation that they are currently using. They're using their bench. They have a good rotation. So what does that mean? For Alabama, it's a lot harder to figure out who is going to get hot, who you need to put your main priorities to. So for that reason, I'm actually going with Charleston. Let me know in the comments if you like that, because that would be kind of a big upset, a number 13 seed taking over a number 4. I want to check out just some of it. Let's see. Ooh, somebody said Mississippi State was the best defense I saw last weekend. So that's going against my Michigan State, Mississippi State pick right there. But to each their own. Let me know if you ended up putting in Mississippi State or Michigan State in your own bracket. I'm definitely curious. Oh, looking ahead, Clemson and New Mexico. Clemson is one of those teams that it's offense over defense 100%. They do have a good ball rotation, but it's very much and very clear that their priority is offense. And to be honest, in this tournament, I think defense has to play a big role in it. So I don't think that that's going to fare well for Clemson. They obviously got this far, so I can't say that it doesn't work for them. But New Mexico, they are red hot right now. They are on fire, and I'm really excited about it. They won the Mountain West tournament, obviously. They have a really, really good defending skills. I am liking New Mexico to stay red hot and beat Clemson this weekend. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited for March Madness. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I don't think that you can go wrong really with any teams, and it's so fun to put together a bracket. So I'm very curious if you're also putting together your bracket right now, if you're waiting for tonight's games, whatever that's going to look like. Of course, we have CU taking on Boise State tonight. We'll get into that, how far I think CU and CSU are going to go, but there's plenty of good games. I'm so excited for tomorrow, 10 a.m., right when Denver Sports Daily will get going. So plenty of good stuff. Baylor at Colgate. I'm sorry. I just got to go with Baylor. I can't ever doubt against them. I can't. They got a solid core, so I'm rolling with Baylor. Dayton and Nevada. I think Nevada has been seriously underranked here in this. I know they lost in the Mountain West tournament, but I really do like Nevada, so I'm rolling with Nevada. And then I just got to go with Arizona over Long Beach State. I feel like Arizona has the resources, and they've been there and all of the things, and I just think that they do have a really solid core. They have a loaded roster for sure, so I'm rolling with Arizona. If you are watching, let me know what you have disagreed with me on in the comments thus far as we do the left side of the bracket. And now we'll go over to the right side, to the south real quick. And we will start with Houston. Let me pull out my piece of paper for me real quick. All right. Are we good on this side? Perfect. Houston, I'm sorry, I got to roll with it. I feel like that's not the obvious one. Everybody waits for like somebody to pick the number 16 seed over the number 1 seed. And I know it happens almost every single year, but I do just feel like I got to roll with Houston on this one. So I'm taking Houston over Longwood. Nebraska, Texas A&M. I'm rolling actually with Nebraska on this. And the reason is Texas A&M is shooting 22.8% from the free throw line. 22% from the free throw line. That's insane to me. And how often would we have close games in the NCAA tournament and the refs are calling and blowing the whistle and you got to shoot free throws in order to stay in the game? I think that's going to happen. So I'm really liking Nebraska on this one. Wisconsin and James Madison. I know one of the comments was talking about, I can't decide on this one. And for me too, this is a struggle. I have a question mark down here right now. Wisconsin has a struggling defense. They are 3-8 in the stretch. So I'm like, they're not hot right now. They're not in a roll. They were pretty decent at the beginning of the season, but things have definitely slowed down for them. But then James Madison's kind of just this overall good team, but they're still a 12 seed. And I've already taken a 12 seed to beat a number 5 seed. So I am really struggling. So I'm going to go over to YouTube. And if you are watching over on YouTube, definitely let me know, because I am going to have you guys help me. Should I take Wisconsin or James Madison? Putting up that poll right now. What was your favorite March Madness memory? I'm really curious while we wait for this poll to go through. Mine is, truthfully, 6 years ago, I ended up actually meeting my fiance because of March Madness. It's blanking on my mind right now. I'm thinking of all these other teams, but it was when the number 16 team beat the 1 seed. I can't remember who it is. I'm so mad at myself. But because of that, we didn't go out, and we waited to go out on St. Patty's Day. And ultimately, that's how I met my fiance. So it's one of my favorite memories ever. I loved watching the Peacocks go on their run. There's always the Cinderella story. How could we forget when Steph Curry went on the Cinderella story too? That was such a blast. And look at where he is now, obviously in the NBA, one of the most well-known players. I just love March Madness, and I love how people who aren't even into sports always tends to get into it. So it looks like people are telling me to go James Madison. So I'm going to trust you guys. We're going to roll with James Madison on that one. Yeah, so far we're at 100% of the votes have James Madison. So I like that for sure. Duke versus Vermont. Duke, terrible on defense. It's crazy how many of these teams are so bad on defense, yet because of their offensive strategy, they're able to win a bunch of games. But Duke has been terrible, and Vermont has actually been pretty good. However, they are missing one of their key contributors. So that one hurts a little bit. I think I'm going to have to roll with Duke over Vermont on this one. So we will roll with the number 4 seed. Now, Texas Tech versus NC State. I actually really like this matchup. This is one of those ones that I'm going to look forward to a lot. Texas Tech is really good at the 3 when the game is on the line. So that tells me, one, that they feel very confident in the team that they are and they're able to put up points. And, they utilize their timeouts really well. And again, they're shooting super well beyond the arc when the game is on the line. Now, NC State, they beat UNC in the conference tournament. That's pretty dang good. And their offense is really just starting to get rolling. So I feel like this is another one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I don't know who I want to pick, but my gut is kind of telling me to roll with NC State. I feel like I might end up regretting that, but we see upsets all the time. And again, even though Texas Tech is good when it comes down to the line, I feel like NC State is kind of on a roll. So you got to take them right now. So I'm going to roll with them. That's one of those ones that I don't feel super confident in. So I'm really curious how you guys are looking at that matchup. Are you taking Texas Tech just because they've obviously been there, done that plenty of times before, or not? Kentucky versus Oakland. The offense is just getting started for Kentucky yet again. It's pretty much like NC State. And then Oakland, they really struggled to defend. So I'm just going to roll with Kentucky on that front. And then we got Florida or Boise State / Colorado. Go Buffs, right? I think everybody is saying that if you are watching this in Colorado. I am actually going to be rolling with Colorado to win tonight and Colorado to beat Florida. So here's to hoping big. I think that they can obviously move on. There's so much good that Tad Boyle has done up there in Boulder that I think they can really go on. Not that they got snubbed, but I know they've struggled as a pass, but I do think that they are able to figure it out. And Cody Williams is such an incredible basketball player that they're going to really utilize him. So I'm rolling with Colorado. I hope that doesn't get me in trouble, but I definitely do like it. And then this one's super easy as well. Marquette over Western Kentucky. I feel like that one's just so simpler. Yeah, so that's the top half of the bracket right there. Oh, we'll go down to the Midwest because I feel like this is where I also have a lot of questions about how I actually feel. I'm going with Purdue. That one's super easy for me. And then Utah State, they get all their points inside the paint. 100% of their points feel like it comes from inside the paint. They do not shoot well from the arc and beyond. And then TCU's honestly just overall a really solid team. It feels like they're very connected with what they're doing on the court, with their coach, with their bench unit. So I really like TCU. Gonzaga versus McNeese. And I know this was another one of those comments that people were like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this pick, so help me out. I am going with Gonzaga. So one, they're a super fast team. They play super fast basketball and they're really, really solid around the rim, which is going to be really good for them. But McNeese, try and read, make sure that I got my notes correct on this one. They are definitely missing out. One, they do have a good offense, but they do not have a very overwhelming defense, which is one of those things I feel like you kind of have to play really solid defense. So I am going to go with Gonzaga. Moving on. Oh, Kansas. Obviously, we all know that they lost one of their top players, their top scorer. So he will not be playing in the tournament after having an irritated knee that they just could not get to slow down. However, I do have Kansas moving on in the first round. We'll get to the second round here in a second. But Kansas, the number 4 seed, moving on. This is another one of them, you guys. I'm not exactly sure. South Carolina over Oregon. So help me out. Which one do you like? I feel like it's kind of just a flip of a coin. So I'm going to skip that one and come back. So please, please, please help me out. Now we got Creighton or Akron. Creighton is great at defending the 3. Overall, they have a lot of size, which can definitely help them out. They're a much bigger team than Akron. And Akron is very turnover prone. So I'm going with Creighton on this one. Texas at Colorado State. I think my Rammies, I think their shot comes to an end. I really, really, really hope that I am wrong, but I do think that it's going to be Texas that walks away. I don't know. The game last night for Colorado State, yes, Virginia sucked. Virginia was not a good basketball team at all, but I don't think that was it like 50 something or 60 something points that CSU put up. I don't think that those type of numbers are going to necessarily help them advance and beat Texas. And that breaks my heart a little bit, but I am rolling with Texas over CSU. And then I am taking Tennessee over the Peacock St. Peter's. Can you do something crazy again? Or was it just last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was, that you just had that miracle run? So I'm rolling with Tennessee there. All right. I'm going to go up just a little bit and I want to make sure, going back to your poll real quick, everybody. Ooh, see, now a lot of things have changed. People are kind of telling me to go towards Wisconsin. I'm going to leave this one up just a little bit because I'm very curious. Uh, it definitely stresses me out. I'm like, which one is the way to go? And what's the closest? Actually, I want you guys to hype yourself up just a little bit in the comments. What's the closest you've ever come? Have you gotten out of opening weekend or, Thursday, Friday games with the round of 64 with a perfect bracket? I'm really, really curious. So please let me know in the comments. I want to say it was like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now at this point, that I came out of the first round with a perfect bracket. And then my second, oh my gosh, you guys, the second round was not good to me. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But I'm going to scoot on over this way real quick. Don't mind me. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to control this as we'll go back to the East and then we'll go through the rounds again as we just move forward into the Final Four. I feel like the first weekends where everybody's like really invested. So we're going to kind of move a little bit fast here, move down, and that way hopefully it'll give you just a little bit of an idea of which way to go with that. So I am going Connecticut, UConn to beat Florida Atlantic. And then I want to make sure I'm correct on this for what I did. I'm going UAB over Auburn. I think that they're going to lose to Connecticut for sure, but I don't know. I feel like UAB, there's something special about them this year and they're riding really hot. They win their conference championship. I'm feeling really good on them. So I'm going UAB all the way to the Connecticut to face Connecticut next Thursday, which is even crazier. Okay, so then we'll move down here. BYU over Illinois. Oh, I'm really thinking BYU. Okay, so the thing about Illinois is they do struggle with defense. That's one of their main things. They can shoot the ball really well, but they struggle with defense. And it seems like BYU is just a really well complete team between offense and defense. So I think I'm going to go with BYU. Oh, that one kind of gives me anxiety. And then I am going to go with Iowa State to move on. And then I'm going to pick Iowa State to go against UConn. Not very exciting. A number 1 and a number 2 seed right there. Moving down here, I'm rolling with North Carolina over Michigan State. And then I think, I am going to roll with Charleston over Grand Canyon. I do think that the Lopes run will come to an end, but I like that one. Then I'm going to take North Carolina over Charleston as well. Now, New Mexico over Baylor. Ooh, can I bet against Drew Scott? Can New Mexico stay hot that far? I think I got to go with Baylor. Ugh, that kind of kills me a little bit. I would love to see New Mexico be able to kind of advance. And then I'm taking Arizona, but I am taking Baylor over Arizona. I think that can happen. I'd like that. So North Carolina and Baylor. And then who are we going to roll with in between? Connecticut and Iowa State. I'm going UConn. North Carolina or Baylor. Let me know in the comments what you would do. I'm going to leave that one because I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it yet. We're going to switch over here to the south side real quick. Houston and Nebraska. I do like Houston. James Madison and Duke. I'll go with Duke. Oh, well, I don't know. Looking at some of the stats that we've got here, James Madison only lost 3 games. I know they don't have quite the strength of the schedule that Duke has. Man, this is tough. This is really, really, really tough because we know there's always one team that can go out there and just put up different stats. So let's go. I'm going to go with Duke for right now. We might return back to that one. NC State or Kentucky. I'm pretty sure I took Kentucky. Let me double check on my stuff right here. But yeah, I feel like I just got to roll with them. Yeah, we're going to roll with Kentucky. And then Colorado or Marquette. We're going with Marquette. I would love to see CU advance. And I could tell my producer, Joey, right now is just like, oh my gosh, Rachel, what on earth are you doing here with this bracket? But yeah, I feel like I just got to do that one. Now, I do think Purdue is going to advance. I think Gonzaga is going to beat Kansas. And then I have to pick on South Carolina and Oregon, don't I? I'm going to go with South Carolina, and I think Creighton will advance. And then I do kind of like, when your gut tells you something? I feel like my gut is telling me to roll with Texas, but I feel like my head is telling me to roll with Tennessee. So we will go that way. I do think, can Gonzaga beat Purdue? Can Gonzaga beat Purdue? I could see my producer Joey head going, yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm rolling with Gonzaga. And then I am rolling with, do I want Creighton or Tennessee? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to go read some of them right now. At least CSU made it to the dance, Rachel. Yes, I know. Thank goodness they did. People saying Duke all day. Arizona. Let's see. People are telling me go with Tennessee. So I'll go with Tennessee. And then we'll go with Tennessee again. I feel like this bracket is not very exciting, which is very unfortunate. And then I am picking Marquette. Houston or Duke? Oh, Houston. Yep. Houston moving on. And then Gonzaga or Tennessee. I feel like I gotta go. If Gonzaga can get this far, I think that they can make a serious run. But it's really hard to bet against Tennessee and what they're able to do. I've also know, though, a lot of the betting websites have a lot of underdogs that have like 95% of the bets going for them. People are looking to lock in some money if they can because there's always such an upset. Unfortunately, I just don't think that in the Final Four we're going to see really any big upsets. I think it's going to be mainly the top seeds, and that's kind of be what it looks like. So I think I'm going to roll with Gonzaga. I'm going to roll with Tennessee. I know that one's so boring, everyone. I'm sorry. It's just really hard to bet against them. And then where am I missing one? How did I miss? Where's Connecticut taking on? I thought I picked Houston. Why is it not? Oh, because I'm being stupid. Duh, Rachel. I'm going with North Carolina. Oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. That's such a boring bracket, but I really do just think that it's going to be. I think everyone is expecting us to have so many upsets this year. Well, I do think there will be. Some players always get really cocky. Teams always get cocky. I just think that in the Final Four, it's going to be a battle of the best teams that we've seen all year. And I think it's going to be Houston. And I think it's going to be Connecticut. And if I had to guess a score line right now, let me know what you think the score line would be. Oh, let's see. I'm going to run another poll if you're watching us over on YouTube. I'm going to run another poll real quick. You tell me UConn or Houston and which one you would go for. I wonder who will be the biggest upset, though. I feel like there's got to be one that's going to be just major. Like, I would truthfully love to see New Mexico State be able to advance, or like a Nevada. Of course, I would love to see CSU or CU, any of them. So if you are watching us over on YouTube, then definitely make sure you sorry, I keep moving this around for you guys. Let me know. Everyone's saying UConn. UConn. All right. We'll go with UConn. I know I've got some family members who are also rolling with UConn. I'm going 84-77. That's going to be my final bracket. All right. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a fun one. I can't believe that took 30 minutes, first of all, for me to fill out my bracket. There was so much information that I hopefully was able to pass along to you guys. So plenty of good stuff. But yeah, there we go. Connecticut, 84-77. Plenty of good stuff. If you are not already, make sure you go over, do the 5K bracket challenge. It's on denversports.com. It's super easy. It's the exact same layout that you just saw me fill out. And you might as well, who knows, you can maybe walk away with $5,000 in your pocket. The closest person to get the best bracket, obviously you add up by points, etc. Somebody's going to walk away with $5,000. So go do the bracket. It's always so much fun. And then I hope you guys have a wonderful March Madness season. It's the best time of the year. And I truthfully, as somebody who loves the NFL so dearly, March Madness is my favorite time of the year because it feels like America really buys into it. So plenty of good stuff on this Wednesday, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for another episode of Denver Sports Daily, 12 p.m. p.m. for episode of Coffee Break. Of course, we're going to be able to see the bracket right off the bat, games beginning tomorrow morning. So come hang out with us and make sure you're cheering on the Buffs tonight if you're here in Colorado. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.